Welcome to In the Margins. I'm your host, Ralph Newell, and today's episode is devoted to Diverse's Magazine's 2024 Arthur Ashe Jr. Sports Scholars of the Year. Our female winner is Ms. Olivia Womack. She's the first overall winner we've ever had from Ole Miss, so congratulations to you, your parents, and all the others that have helped you along the way. Olivia has a cumulative GPA of 3.93 through the fall of 2023. She's a three-time All-American in track and field, and you just had, when I was reading, just way too many other academic, athletic, and community service accolades to mention. But to our audience, you can definitely read about her in the April 25th, 2024 edition of Diverse Issues in Higher Education. Welcome, Olivia.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
In particular, our parents, they definitely give us our foundation and help us to, shape who we become in life. And, one of those, and we draw inspiration from a lot of different people. And we as an organization, I think a lot of African American children and other children of color, I'll just say Americans in general, grew a lot of inspiration from Arthur Ashe, who is the namesake of the program. So besides being a great African American tennis player, he's one of the best tennis players in history. So Ashe was a man of service. He used his success on the tennis court as a way to draw attention to the causes he believed in and to help improve the lives of others. So he focused on helping children, improving healthcare, and supporting civil rights, and giving all people a chance to equal rights and then success. So when we look at Ashe, and one of the criteria we look at for selecting our student athlete of the year is them having a critical, not a critical, but an extensive background and a track record of community service. One of the things he said was, from what we get, we can make a living, but what we give, however, makes a life. So talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done from a community service standpoint that you have enjoyed, or why you did it.
Okay. To start, I just want to say that being a student athlete, it gives you so many different opportunities to be able to do community service. It puts you in a lot of rooms so you can be able to just find communities that you would love to be in. And it's one of my
Mhm.
favorite things that I've had about coming to Ole Miss and like being in college here. I've been able to work with so many different like community service groups to be able to do things. One of the specific ones that I love the most was probably rallying against sexual assault. They call them RASA on campus. They do all sorts of events where they try to help people understand that they're not alone if they've been like assaulted, or like help them spread awareness so people know that there are things for them to do if they find themselves in a predicament, whether they be domestic violence, sexual assault, or anything like that. We've been able to do campus walks, or like take events like this thing called Take Back the Night, where
Mhm.
basically there's a march around campus where people are standing up for themselves against sexual assault, and then they do all sorts of festivals. Being here, I've been able to like work with them and do a lot of things with them, so I love that. I've also been able to work with another group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Take Back the Night by Tim Tebow.
Yes, I am.
Yes, we've been able to do some things with them as well. They host an event actually in Oxford where they allow for like students with disabilities to be able to have their own prom. So we have been able to like work with that, put that together, and it's been so enriching, and it makes me so happy to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, that's I did read about that and what you were doing there, and I thought that was awesome, as having a very close friend who has a son with a disability, and being able to see him go to his prom. They have sports activities for them, and it just it just lights their life up that they are able to do these things that, quote unquote, that only the mainstream kids get to do. Another one
Right.
of the things I was reading about that you participated in, that I really liked, was the reading program with elementary students. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, that's a part of the thing called Reading Across America. If you
Hmm.
graduated in like the 2020s and you went to like elementary school in like the 2000s, like late 2000s to early 2000s, you know they have like the little people. They come in with the cat in the hat hats, and then you'll sit and read to the children. I was able to go. excuse me, I was had the opportunity to be able to go and read to kids so then they could like I mean, not understand, but grow a love for reading that we got from like being in school. It was so nice being able to see the children just be happy and like be happy that like the athletes wanted to be there to do things with them. It was so sweet.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about, I think you and I were talking earlier, and I was saying you're like the same age as my daughter. So, you know, um, you obviously were not born or around when Arthur Ashe was in his quote unquote prime. So he may or may not be an inspiration for you today, or someone that you looked up to, and maybe he is. But if so, what about him or his work do you think has influenced you? And if not him, um, who else out there has helped influence you in regards to wanting to do work in the community and et cetera?
Well, from what I've heard about Arthur Ashe over the 4 years that I've been in school, he sounds like an inspirational person. I
Hmm.
love the fact that he did a lot of outreach with his community, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I was not very familiar with Arthur Ashe outside of that.
Hmm.
However, I guess I could say an inspiration, this is gonna sound kind of cliche, was kind of my dad.
Hmm.
All like my like growing up, he's been like really invested in the community. He does a lot of things around like the community, the area of Jackson, where like he like helps with not I'm trying to think of the word for it right now, where like they give back water to like people who are in like less income situations, and they've helped
Hmm.
out with so many different like natural issues that's been going on there. I don't know if you heard about the water issue that happened earlier in 2022, I want to say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, basically, there was no clean water, so they help with water drives. They do food drives for Christmas. They also did a lot of things for people during COVID, and like it's just made me want to like be able to give back as well and do things that are kind of meaningful in the environment if I have the well, not the environment, around people if I have the opportunity.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about that today because yeah, I remember early on when we started this, most of the student athletes definitely knew who he was and had memories and remembered matches and things like that. But like, said, I honestly was thinking about it today because I was like, my daughters don't even know who Ash is, so I couldn't take for granted that you would as well. Not questioning your intelligence, if you will. But hey, if you weren't around, you weren't around. But still, the legacy is there, and we all have people that influence what we do. I want to shift gears a little bit and just sort of start talking maybe a little bit about your experience while you were in school and one of the biggest things that's happened, if not while you were in school or it happened just before you got started, and that is the NIL, the ability of student athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness. So, first question for you in regards to that is, if you can share, has that had an impact for you in your during your college years? Have you had specific opportunities to pursue that?
There's been a few opportunities where things come around with NIL, but
Hmm.
like I'm gonna be completely honest. I couldn't find myself putting my face towards something if I didn't like use the product in general, if you want me to be real.
Hmm. No.
So like if it were like not a thing like coffee or something like that, because I'm an avid coffee drinker since I came to college, I couldn't like necessarily just see myself using it. But like there's been some opportunities where it's like kind of arose, but like I didn't really feel the need. I see how it's helped people with a lot of positive, but like that hasn't been my experience, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
just something
no,
that's been indifferent.
understood, understood. But you were at a Power Five institution, so there's definitely lots of opportunity for in particular football, basketball players. Less so for some of the, quote unquote non-revenue sports, but I do know,
Yeah.
there definitely have been opportunities. So for those colleagues of yours that that have taken advantage of it, and I mean that in a good way, how do you how can you anecdotally say, I guess, has this helped them, whether it be in life out with their family or just getting through school?
Well, yeah. Well, when it comes to scholarships and everything, depending on
Hmm.
if you don't necessarily have a full or if you're not, whatever your situation might be, everyone could always use a little bit more money or like a little bit more resources or something sometimes. So seeing people with NILs be able to go and get things that they wouldn't have been able to get beforehand, it's kind of nice. We live in Oxford and it's a really weird intersection between being like a small country town, but also there's a lot of people who come here. So like the prices of everything is always raising. People who are able to get like NIL money, they can like go and get more groceries that they would probably need because they wouldn't just have had the money just lying around. So I feel like it's a pretty net positive, like
Yeah.
at least in Ole Miss, you know.
hmm Do you believe it has in any way changed the relationship between the student athletes and the university?
I suppose I could see that. You start to look at school more as like a business opportunity rather than like, I guess, to get an education. But then that would
hmm
call into question a few other issues that are with, I guess, college sports in the first place.
Right.
But you can't be mad at people. They just want to look out for themselves. That's fair enough. If you were one of the people who were going to get like a big NIL deal in the first place, you probably were looking at school as like a business opportunity already. So I, I don't feel like it changes that much, if you want me to be honest.
No, I do. But all right, and just so in what ways do you, as this continues to evolve, what would you like to see? How would you like to see this evolve eventually to better support the student athletes in the future?
I feel like when it comes to certain NIL groups or collectives that exist,
Mhm.
if they were to like do things that would make it more equitable for the entire like student athletic population, that would make, I guess, people enjoy their school experience here. Because I can't deny that you do see some people who like genuinely care about the NIL things, but like they're not as able to get the opportunities. How like I guess they would feel seeing other people get like hundreds of thousands of dollars being able to be here and like they're scraping by with pennies. So like I could see that that would be something that would be better, but like other than that, there's not much else. I guess let it be more regulated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's definitely the big thing that it being actually not regulated, so to speak. I was just literally reading an article last night. I don't know if you were following basketball, but Oakland
Yeah.
University that beat Kentucky in basketball, that one of their players trying to decide whether he was going to come back this year, enter the portal, or go to the NBA. And part of their argument was, okay, he could go somewhere else or come back to Oakland and, have another good year to better position himself for the NBA. And that was kind of the argument that maybe he should do that. And the point they were getting at was it was estimated that he can make $500,000 plus from NIL at Oakland University. And he would actually be making more than the president and the coach as a student. So they
And
didn't
no,
really say how they felt about that one way or the other, but it was definitely pointed out.
that is actually insane. NIL, it is kind of like the wild, wild west right now with people being
hmm
able to get all this money. I never thought I would hear the day where I heard people talking about school being more like profitable than like actually going to a league. But
Right.
that's interesting to hear. Like that's crazy.
It is. It is. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of players that, especially those that are on the margin, if you will, on the fence in regards to their talent being good enough to go to the next level, but they're a big enough name, if you will, at their school that it's better off for them to stay another year or two, to better their position, but and also to make money. But anyway, that's just sort of some items that I did want to talk with you about. But more importantly, what we're recognizing and honoring through the Ash Scholars is those minority student athletes that are able to juggle the academic as well as the athletics at a high level. And you have definitely done both academically, met the challenges as well as athletically at a very high level. So, how are you able to balance all that at such a high level?
Okay. Coming to college, I really didn't know what to expect because
hmm
going to high school, though my high school was challenging, school's never been too hard, if you want me to be real. But
hmm
coming to school and seeing that there's so much material you have to learn how to study. And I guess I want to say my freshman year, I went explicitly to all of my advisors and everything and told them that we need to figure out a plan because the schoolwork started coming in really quickly and I needed to learn how to study really quick. But
Right.
after a while, you get used to it. You start learning how to do work, and it becomes easier as time goes on. I'll never forget there were some of my harder classes that I took my junior year of school. I know
hmm
that sounds kind of crazy. My schedule got really messed up as time went on. But yeah, I started ended up taking my senior year classes my junior year of school. And I had to figure out what I was going to do. because I had classes. I mean, I had work to do, and we were in the middle of like season, so I couldn't like just like stop. So I ended up doing this thing where I would try to do like a class a day, and it worked out pretty well. So that's typically just the way I started, like typically the way I started just doing my work. I get kind of anxious now that I think about it because my plans after like I mean track are to go to law school, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So we're gonna have to go back and recreate another plan so then we can do this again. But yeah, you just after a while, if you just keep working at it, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. What's it called?
Oh
You're gonna
yeah.
find a way. Yeah.
So is it no? I mean, I'm not trying to necessarily get personal, but you want to go to law school? Have you just changed your mind, or you feel like there's some barriers that's going to keep you from going to law school?
Oh, as of now, I took the LSAT and I've applied and I got admitted into the University of Mississippi Law School. So that's
Okay.
wonderful. I'm planning on going in the fall. The only thing that I'm just saying that, like, academically speaking, I get kind of nervous when I think about it because, like, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of different things about going to law school. Some people say, oh, it's easy, just treat it like a job. Then you hear some other people say, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So I just like, I don't know what to expect yet, and they're saying that I know that it's going to be a lot of reading and a lot more work than like undergrad and high school. So, just generally just kind of anxious.
Yeah, I think you obviously have the ability to juggle a lot. I mean, I know what it takes in regard. Well, I shouldn't say I know what it takes, but I guess I do know what it takes. But I know how much of a time commitment it is to be an athlete and to have to study and all that. I told my daughter, one of my daughters, just literally just yesterday we were talking. I
Hmm.
said, early on in my academic career in college, I had to go to study hall. And I said that probably was the best thing for me because it made me do my work. Because I said the first semester that I didn't have study hall, my grades fell. Because I didn't know how to structure myself. And it sounds like you already know how to set that structure up. So I think you're gonna do just fine. But I guess you're anticipating or looking at potential challenges or setbacks with that. So when you have them now, setbacks with your athletics or setbacks in your academics, how are you able to overcome that and not let it affect the other part of what you're doing at school?
Okay, so when it comes to setbacks, especially when they're like academically,
Hmm.
sometimes athletics, you have to learn to compartmentalize that. Like I've been when I was younger, there would be times where like I'd do bad in one class and I'm like, oh no, the world is falling apart or something like that. But like just because you did bad at this one specific thing doesn't mean that
Hmm.
you're gonna do bad at something else. And it doesn't even mean that the year isn't over yet. You can always come back and do better. So you have to like look at the bigger picture sometimes. Think about it this way: like, okay, you might have had a bad day at practice, or you might have did bad on a test, but we can just figure out what we didn't know and we can do better. There's no thing saying that tomorrow's not going to be good. So you just have to keep that like positive mindset because the more positive you are now, it's going to benefit you more in the future because you're not going to like give up.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. And so obviously, I guess you have aspirations to become a lawyer. What is it about the law that interests you or is driving you?
Well, I've always okay. This is gonna be kind of cheesy, but I liked
Hmm.
Law and Order growing up.
Oh
So
my
that
gosh.
was like, yeah, that was actually one of my favorite shows. So
Hmm.
I've always been kind of interested in the law, but the older I get, I've seen like a lot more injustices that happen with people of color and other minority groups in general, just like been trampled on in this country that we stay in. And I've always wanted to help people. So I've always thought that like, why not I use my interest to help people? So I've always wanted to like go into law and hopefully work for the American Civil Liberties Union in the future and do my best with like prosecuting for like these cases. I mean, cases that would like infringe on people's rights.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, thank you. Thank you very much for, indulging us and letting us learn a little more about you. I want to close with this quote from Arthur Ashe. Success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. So, Olivia, outwardly so far, you've had a successful journey. I want you to keep doing what you're doing, and we wish you much success in the future. And please, please keep in touch with us. And congratulations on being the 2024 Female Athlete of the Year for the Arthur Ashe Awards.
Thank you guys so much for picking me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Honestly, it's every year it's daunting when we look at the list of people, the nominees. you came out of women's track, which is probably the most competitive group for female athletes that we have. I mean, it's usually hundreds of them that come out of it. And just to make it out of the track batch, it says a lot. Like I said, it's our most competitive group. So, but at the end of the day, the cream, as they say, always rises to the top, and you definitely did. So, again, like I said, congratulations to you, and also congratulate your parents on our behalf as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So now we'd like to welcome to the program our 2024 male Arthur Ashe Jr. Sports Scholar of the Year, Darius Robinson from the University of Missouri. Darius had a 3.88 cumulative GPA through the fall of 2023. He was selected as an all SEC performer in football, is a first round draft prospect in the upcoming NFL draft. And to me, Darius, what was just as impressive was that you started your own foundation last year. So welcome, Darius.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, all right. So, Darius, you are joining, we just got to sitting back thinking about it, looking at our past winners, but you're joining a fraternity of football greats that have also been Arthur Ashe Jr. Sports Scholar Awards. I was just looking at the list recently. That includes NFL Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk, Russell Wilson, RG3, Sam and Emmanuel Acho, John Urschel, Rodrigo Blankenship. And a winner just 2 years ago was current Philadelphia Eagles starting linebacker Nakobe Dean. So what do you think about being in that company?
No, it's an awesome opportunity. I'm just really thankful to have my name with their names because those are some of the elite guys on and off the field, and it's a huge honor and just really thankful.
Yeah. I recently was reading that Arthur Ashe wanted to play football actually himself, but his father forbade him from playing because he thought he was too small. And I just saw in one of your interviews recently that you didn't start playing football until your junior year of high school. Why is that?
Honestly, because I really wanted to be a basketball player, but I quickly realized, 6'5" isn't that big in basketball, and I need to find a way to earn a scholarship for myself. So I started playing football.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it without my age, 6'5" was huge, right? When I was in high school for someone playing basketball, but today you're right. Point guards are taller than 6'5" in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So one of the things that caught my eye was that you wear number 6. Why number 6?
Honestly, I wore 5 in high school and I couldn't wear 5 in college. So I just thought about if I level up, I'd be number 6, man. So that's my new number. And we'll see what number I can wear coming up.
Okay. And I don't want to talk a lot about football, but the last thing I just wanted to ask you about was step. You talk about leveling up. I think literally your play, at least from a statistical standpoint, leveled up dramatically from 2022 to 23. And what would you attribute that success to?
I would contribute that to a lot of hard work and being consistent and constantly finding ways to grow and develop as a player. But also, my coach, Kevin Peoples, was my coach this past year, and he really had a major impact on me, teaching me a lot of skills and a lot of ways to use my length and to use my hips more and just to contribute to being a great football player this year. But I really say a lot of hard work and my coach, Kevin Peoples.
Exactly. Arthur Ashe, he was definitely a critic of athletics in higher education. He once said that, having predominantly black football and basketball teams, yet student bodies that are overwhelmingly white, that the colleges are engaging in blatant hypocrisy. Not sure how you necessarily feel about that statement, but how did you feel as an African American student athlete at Mizzou? Do you think you were treated better or what?
I feel great. I
Right?
feel like each
Okay.
and every day it was just I was just glad to be in college, just really
Hmm.
for all the resources that they give us being a student athlete. And then being a black student athlete, there were a lot of different organizations or fraternities you could be a part of. So I feel like Missouri is very welcoming for black student athletes. And, I had overall a great experience at Mizzou.
Okay. And I think, what Arthur Ashe was talking about was more of support for student athletes, and that a lot of schools were willing to provide academic counseling and tutors, et cetera, to help student athletes stay eligible. But they didn't take that same approach with the non-Black student athletes. So the rigor of playing a sport, especially football, or actually any sport, not to minimize other sports, and being a student is definitely hard. So how was the structure at Mizzou to help you compete on the field and in the classroom?
I'd say it was great. Our Coach Drink, made our practice schedule very player friendly, where we would lift in the mornings and practice in the evening. So you had time during the day and then after practice. And also, I'd say from the academic side, our academic coordinator, Donald, does a great job with scheduling classes and tutoring sessions. So I feel like if you are very communicative with your coach and the academic coordinator, you're able to have a successful school year and successful day, each and every day.
Yeah. So even with all that balance, what was the biggest challenge for you as far as the academic side of the house?
I probably say time because I
Uh,
love football and football is my vice. But at the same time, I realize school is very important. And football only lasts so long, but my education will last forever.
yeah. So yeah, football, like you said, it's not going to last forever. So what do you see, let's say 10, 15 years down the road, if you're blessed to play that long, that is going to be next in your life?
Yeah, I would say using one of the two of my degrees. So my first degree is hospitality management with a minor in business and a multicultural certificate. So I can see
Hmm.
myself owning tourism attractions, hotels, or restaurants. But also my master's in education with an emphasis in positive culture and athletic leadership. So I can see myself being an athletic director or a coach. But I really chose two different career paths so that I just give myself as many options as I can after football, and I pick and do what I want to do for the remainder of my life.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We started the Arthur Ashe Awards in 1992. I mean, obviously you weren't even born then. And so when I think about the winners over the years, a lot of times, they were able to speak to examples of things that Arthur Ashe did or said that influenced them in their life. So I don't want to assume that you know that much as far as some direct impact like that. But if not Arthur Ashe, who had a major influence on you?
I would say my mom, honestly, growing up in a single mother background, it was just me and my mom and a lot of tough days, but a lot of bright days as well. But we always learned to stick together and, really pursue academics, really pursue sports, because that could be your opportunity to do something else. So just really thankful for my mother.
So yeah, your mom, that is awesome. So the draft that's coming up in a couple weeks is actually going to be in Detroit, which is near your hometown. So I assume is your mom going to be there with you in the green room?
Yeah, everybody gonna be in the green room. So, we're really excited. I just tell my mom it's funny. We're gonna wake up and drive downtown. So we'll see what happens. Just really excited for this opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and just excited to see how everything plays out.
Yeah, no doubt. I mentioned earlier about you started a foundation, and Chase Griffin, who's quarterback at UCLA, was one of the runner-ups in Arthur Ashe Awards this year, as he was last year. And one of the things I saw that he did was he donated all of his NIL money to charity, and that just blew me away. And then I'm reading, your application at the school sent in and said that you started your own foundation. So tell us about it and why you started it.
Yeah, so the Darius Robinson Helping Hands Foundation was established in October of 2023. My whole goal with this is to do 3 events each year to give back to the community. So this past year, I had a book bag drive where I purchased 100 book bags for the kids at my church and
Mm.
the community. And then Christmas drive, I raised $3,000 for 3 families in need and just donated the Christmas presents. And I feel like going forward, my goal, like I said, is to do 3 events each year and to really provide a platform of giving my blessings back to others, in time or resources.
Okay. Okay. No, that is awesome. Can you tell the audience, for those who may want to help or donate, how they can reach the charity?
Yes, you can reach the charity. I have my email is drhelpinghandsnp@gmail.com, or it's my Instagram page, drhelpinghandsnp. You can reach out and we'll get back in contact with you. But I appreciate any support or any advertising of my nonprofit. And it's just a huge opportunity just to give back to others.
Yeah, no, awesome, great, and hopefully the folks will participate. When I was talking about Chase and NIL as a lead up to that question, I just wanted to ask you, how was the ability to profit from your name, image, likeness? How did that impact your college experience, if it did?
Yeah, it was an awesome opportunity to be able to make money off of the hard work that we do each and every day. But for me, I saved all my money because I kept thinking to myself, what if I don't have a good season? I don't go to the NFL, or what if I don't do this? And so just being prepared for life, but it definitely provides a platform, and it's exciting to get paid for your hard work.
No, absolutely. So what were some of the specific opportunities or partnership that you had through that?
Honestly, I was on a pizza at the University of Missouri through Every True Tiger.
Okay.
A lot of social media posts, a lot of different things like that. But at Missouri, we have a great support system on and off the field through the Every True Tiger Foundation.
Okay. So you kind of came into, intercollegiate athletics, I believe, I'm just thinking here through time, either just after this started or when it started. So just over the past 3 to 4 years, have you seen any changes that you feel because of NIL between the relationship between the student athletes, their coaches, or universities?
Yeah. I mean, when I came in 2019 on the visit, I just wanted a lanyard. That's all I wanted. All like
Okay.
when the kids come on visit, they ask you how much money you make, and that's a huge difference. And that's why I think it's best the universities keep everything private between players and coaches and keep everything separate. Because at the end of the day, it's all about school and football. All that other stuff is a blessing, but we can't let that get in the way of the real goal is to win games, and you really get your degree and chase true dreams. So that's what I would say about that.
Okay. And so, no, that's very well said. And if you could see this evolve further, how would you want to see NIL develop to better support the student athletes in the future?
Yeah, I would say it has to, I feel like in my opinion, it has to be a better system. Yes, you have to recruit and bring kids there, but if kids are not playing, then I feel like there's a better way to do it to ensure the fairness and ensure integrity within the team. But also, like I said, keep everything private. Like I feel like this is adult stuff, and just like a real job, you don't ask people how much money they make. So it should be the same way in college. But like I said, Missouri, they do a great job of keeping it private, keeping everything separate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to just go back to the academic side of the house. Um, like I said, obviously you did a very good job of balancing academics and athletics. What advice would you give to, that young recruit that comes in that you've hosted, or those who aspire to excel both academically and athletically?
Yeah, I would tell them to focus and lock in. Really focus on getting a great schedule from your academic coordinator and knowing where you need
Hmm.
to be and what time you need to be there. And as far as football, learn from the older players around you that's doing it the right way, and also from the people that aren't doing it the right way. Figure out what are they doing wrong and make sure you don't do it. So just so you to learn and evolve and find different ways to get better.
Yeah. And even with that, sometimes the best laid plans don't always work out. So how did you approach when you had challenges or setbacks when it didn't go to plan in the classroom and on the field?
Yeah, I would say honestly, just take a deep breath and realize as long as I'm alive, it's never that deep. And
Mhm.
realize that something's going good is going to come out of it. You don't go through tough situations without there being a reason or a learning moment. So just take that, take it on the head and just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say has been like your most memorable experience in the classroom and on the field?
I would say first, starting out with the classroom, which is the most important. I would probably say we had a guest speaker when I was in my
Hmm.
junior or senior year in the hospitality field. And I feel like for me, I learned so much about the industry and what I really could see myself doing with this and asking the right questions. And me and him exchanged contact information after. And that's just a relationship I built by just being interested and wanting the best for myself, but also learning. And then as a football player, I would say I went in the Cotton Bowl this past year. We beat Ohio State Finished
Oh,
the season 11-2, and we're Cotton Bowl champions. Finished number 8 in the country. So that was a huge accomplishment.
man, you guys did that under the radar. I didn't even realize that that you guys had done so well. Which I'm almost ashamed to say, being that D1 college football official. Oh, but we just go to the games and go home, man. So sometimes I don't even realize what's going on. So congratulations on that for sure.
Hey,
So I just want to close with a quote then from Arthur Ashe, who said, "Success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome." So, Darius, outwardly so far, you've had a successful journey. So keep doing what you're doing, and we wish you much success in the future.
all right, thank you so much.
All right.